From the heart of Houston, it's fun, it's engaging, it's Chattin' with Chelsea. She's daytime's new bestie. Here's your host, Chelsea Edwards. Come back to me. I've got the feeling. Come back.
Hey, besties. Welcome to another episode of Chattin' with Chelsea. I'm your daytime bestie, Chelsea Edwards. Today, we are talking screen time for our kids. You know, that magical thing that allows us to take a shower, eat a little something, just breathe sometimes. Right? I know we've talked about this before. It is so useful, but we also know from oftentimes life experience that it doesn't do so well with their behavior. And it turns out it can have an effect on their brains. Oh, so how do we let our kids use the screens without overdoing it? We've got the expert in, a neuroscience expert in to tell us, give us some tips. And we also have some multitasking moms in to help us out, because what if we want to do other things with our lives, huh? How do we make that happen? Josie here, she feels me.
Could I parent without screen time? I mean, yeah, sure. But I could also make my own butter and sew my own clothes. So let's not get crazy.
Let's not get crazy, okay? There are a lot of things we can do, but
Right.
it's just not feasible for most of us. Especially us single moms.
Yes.
We've got Ashley Keys, boy mom of 3,
Yes.
back in the building. Welcome
Yes.
back.
Thank
to Chat with
you. So
Chelsea.
glad to be back.
Oh, single mom bestie here.
Yes.
You often have just the best advice from life experience.
I try.
And doing all this juggling that you have to do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to screen time for you, I mean, especially with 3 boys,
Yes.
what do you do? Do you have certain limits and parameters around it?
Absolutely. I have to, because these people would just play games all day long, and that's a problem. So my kids, especially during the summer, they have to earn their screen time. So the morning is really dedicated to getting a worksheet done, doing, we have this thankful tree on my wall that we put leaves and we write something that we're thankful for. I'm like, you need to spend some time being grateful. You need to do some chores. You need to take care of these pets that you asked me for that you don't take care of. Like, get to work. So they earn their screen time, and granted, they have a solid chunk. They have 4 hours in the summer where they are just, it's do your thing, enjoy your screen time, but you have to have earned it, and then leave me alone. Like, let me work, let me do the things I need to do, but you've earned it for your day. Awesome. And that's where it ends. Like, stop there. That's it. And then during the school year, it's an hour every day. Because if I don't put these limits, my children are just hunched over with a game and staring directly into it. And I'm like, this cannot be good for you across the board.
Yeah,
so,
their next checkup, the eye doctor's
they're
like, nope.
You can't see, and you have horrible posture.
Right.
So I have to put those limits. I have to, because they would just lose their minds. They have no self-control.
Not at all. I mean, we have to be their self-control.
Yes, absolutely.
What are the ages?
My oldest is about to be 13, and then my younger 2 are 10 and 8.
Do the younger ones, because you know I have a 4-year-old, do they still give you a hard time about when it's time to turn it off?
Not so much anymore, because they know. Like, I feel like preparing them and letting them know ahead of time, these are the ground rules. This is what it is, and there is no wiggle room. So then when it's like, I give them a 5-minute warning, and they're like, okay, it's in my head, I know. But giving that warning, I feel like really just makes it so much easier to deal with, because it's like, you knew it was coming. You knew 2 o'clock was when it ends. I gave you a warning, you know. So it's no more like of a shock to them anymore. I feel like that initial shock was like, you're stopping all my fun. Yeah. But now that they know, like, oh yeah, mom's gonna stop all the fun at 2 o'clock, and they see it coming, so it's not so bad.
Yeah. Set a timer. You hear that?
Yes.
You hear that
Yes,
going
I
off.
know you heard it.
I absolutely love that you do a grateful wall.
Yeah.
So how often do you do this? Is it they earn the screen time every day? Because the other thing is, with the summer having so much more time, trying to figure out what to do with them other than sit them in front of something.
Yes.
Is this like another activity that helps with that as well? making them earn this?
Yes, so it is an everyday thing that they are earning it during the weekdays at least. During the weekends, I've had to remind them, like, it's not your guaranteed screen time anymore. Like, now I have time to hang out and do things, so we're gonna go do things. But they do get, you know, some time during the weekends. But I have a schedule on the wall, so there are no surprises, and they know, like, here are all the things I can do to earn my screen time. I know the routine. I get it. So it makes everything just run so much smoother. Like, you know where you're supposed to be right now. You know when you get screen time. You don't need to ask me before or after. You know when it's happening. Go check the schedule.
Go check the schedule.
Like, you all read very well.
Yes.
Go do that with the schedule.
I love it. And while you're at it, go read a book.
Exactly. That is worked into the schedule as well.
I love it. I love
And
it.
after their screen time, I have them do an hour of just chill. Go unwind by yourself. Go relax. Have some quiet time. Play a game. Read a book. Do some kind of artwork, whatever. You get 1 hour just to like decompress from all that excitement and fun that you were having on Fortnite and being real aggressive. Now bring it back down.
Oh man, I
Yes.
mean, you are my genius
trying.
bestie here.
I'm
I love
trying.
this.
This is
system.
all survival. I'm telling you, you learn so much when you're in survival mode. Just like, how do we make this work? There's 3 of y'all and 1 of me. I gotta figure out how to make it work.
Oh
so,
yeah, they definitely outnumber you, but you got it. You got this, girl.
I'm doing my best.
Well, we got some more advice from a neuroscience expert who will be here in just a couple minutes. You guys don't go anywhere. That was great. We know screen time for kids can give us a brain break, but what is happening with their brains while they're watching things? So we got Dr. Crystal Collier, founder of Know Your Neuro, also an author, as you can see here, plenty of books. Tell me about Know Your Neuro. What do you do with that?
I teach the neurodevelopmental effects of 18 different high-risk behavior to kids as young as kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. So it is a prevention program that not only teaches those things, but helps kids strengthen their executive functioning skills, which is what our brain is growing and developing as we're going through K through 12.
Ah, so you're directly with the kids. You can help them understand what's happening.
Yes.
Instead of just parents arguing with them about not watching so many screens.
Exactly.
So let's get into that. What is happening when it comes to sitting in front of the screen, especially for hours?
Well, I think there's a couple things that I would want parents to know. First is what a dendrite is. And dendrites are these little connectors that connect brain cells together. And those are growing at an astronomical pace in between the ages of birth and 25.
Oh,
and
wow.
the brain has a rule. The rule is use it or lose it. So what you are doing is what your brain decides which networks to make for those skills. So what you aren't doing, your brain literally doesn't grow those dendrites for. So if you're sitting and staring at a screen for hours and hours, your brain is growing networks for staring at a screen.
That's it. When you be doing all sorts of other things, your brain could be growing these dendrites. Or that is my new word. I will use it as much as possible.
Good.
Okay.
Dendrites.
So we could be growing dendrites for, sports, art, but if we're just in front of the screen all day, then it's just screen watching dendrite.
It really is. A lot of the neuroscientific research on the programs that are supposed to be educational programs show that the education really comes from the interaction between the parent or the teacher and the student or the child, not from literally what you see on the screen.
Oh, so even if you think, okay, these are all educational programs that my kid is watching, they're still not getting as much from it as we would like.
Absolutely.
Does this matter as far as age groups, like the littles to the older kids in high school?
Definitely, because we grow what's called executive functioning skills throughout that development, and different skills come on at different times. Like, for instance, task initiation or working memory, those come on pretty early and soon. And then as we go through puberty and into high school, we grow problem solving, decision making, emotion regulation, impulse control. But all of those are based upon the brain's rule too. Use it or lose it. So you've got to practice those skills instead of what would be just watching a screen. So the rule should be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours consecutively, because our brain grows dendrites when we engage in a behavior for that long. We're just growing a new skill, creating a new habit. And so if you watch a screen for 2 to 3 hours, or if you play a game for 2 to 3 hours, you're growing networks for that skill. So the previous parent that you had on had the perfect parenting technique. On for an hour and then off for an hour doing something different. Now, I call that the brain balance rule. So you want to balance out the networks that you're growing for being on a screen and balance that with things that you would do in the world, playing, relaxing, dealing with your feelings, setting boundaries, all the good executive functioning skills that we need to be a fully self-supporting adult.
All right. So we need to have some balance in there. Oh, I do not like that word, but we will make it happen, okay? I love these tips right here. So when it comes to, we've got the video games, we've got the television, we've got the phones. Does it matter as far as the different types of screens?
It really does, and then it doesn't. It depends upon the child and the kid. But you know, a screen is a screen, and I think the second thing I would want parents to know is what supernormal stimuli are. So technology companies figure out what stimuli your brain likes the most. What dopamine will be spiked for what screen type of stimuli is good. And so we know that supernormal stimuli, fast, moving, colorful stimuli, actually spikes dopamine levels the most and will keep you glued to that screen longer. So they manufacture games, shows for maximum supernormal stimuli.
I mean, because we even as adults get that
Absolutely.
effect. Yeah.
We do. Exactly. This is why our preferences for screen time have changed over time. You know, slow moving non-action scenes, we might get bored too quickly because our brain is used to the dopamine spikes that come from things that are more fast moving.
We're all little addicts out here. Okay. So what do we do when it comes to limiting that screen time or creating that balance, especially for the different age groups, if there is a preference for the different age groups?
Definitely. And it's not easy for parents to figure out. I belong to an organization called Smart Families, and we go into schools and we empower parents with the neuroscience of how screens affect kids. So each kid is different. Every kid has different learning issues or preferences, so we need to tailor it for them. But the American Pediatric Society has come out with some screen time guidelines. Under the age of 2, they recommend no screens because that supernormal stimuli is potentially damaging for very young ages. And then in preschool, elementary school, you know, no more than 1 hour of co-watched programming. And as kids grow, they can earn more screen time with doing their chores first, getting all their homework done. And a lot of times parents can relegate it to the weekend. They can earn up to 2 to 3 hours consecutively on the weekend of recreational screen time.
Okay, like Ashley with the grateful wall. You got to earn it. Okay.
Yeah. So elementary, you know, you're looking at, you know, no more than 1 to 2 hours consecutive. Middle school, no more than 2 to 3. High school, no more than 3 to 4 consecutive recreational time. So if you use the brain balance rule, then as soon as a teenager has played their game for 3 hours, they got to go do something else with their brain to balance it out.
Yeah. Okay. We got to switch it up. All right. So speaking of balance, we got a mom who's going to come in and help us with balancing our lives, especially if we're not using the screen so much. What are we going to do? We'll be right back with some answers after this. Welcome back. So we want our kids to not be in front of the screens all day, but we also want to have our own lives. So let's bring in Marie Newton, business opportunity manager and mom of 2. 2 young ones too, 18 months and 3.
Yep.
Wowzers. And you also volunteer at the Junior League. So I don't know how you do it. We're about to find out because it's really difficult for us to want to do our own thing, but not just like have the kids in front of the screens all day. So how do you actually, what's your first step in trying to figure out how you're going to manage your day and your schedule?
Oh, it's a great question. So I think, it starts a little bit more than just your day, right?
Okay.
So I like to spend at least quarterly or maybe every 6 months just thinking about what do I want to do, right? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up as a mom, as a volunteer in the community, and at work? And so I think about kind of what are my goals for this period.
You gotta set those first.
Exactly. You gotta set your goals and you gotta set your boundaries. And also I recommend writing your goals in pencil. That way they're not set in stone. They can always change. They can evolve. And they can form into habits too.
Okay, that's a good point because it's usually a Sharpie for me, but then you feel like you disappointed yourself if you have to make adjustments.
Right. But it's all for you.
Yeah.
It's all for you.
So you had your summer goals.
I have some of my goals. So I think one of the most important things for me is my family. And so what do I want to do with my family this summer? And that being said, my husband is also part of my family and we're so busy. So we'll get to about how it's so important to schedule. But literally a goal of mine is to have a lunch date with my husband at least once a month.
Nice.
Setting time and dedicating it to me and my partner and my spouse.
Okay.
I think that's really key in having that mutual understanding about what we're trying to do, especially with the kids, and our other goals and endeavors that we want to pursue.
Okay, so how do you translate your goals onto your calendar?
Another really important thing. So schedule. So some of those goals, like here in Houston, we have something called Typhoon Texas.
Yes, good times.
Great times. And I will make it there once this summer, but if it's not on the calendar, it won't happen. Right?
Yeah.
And so you can do big things like that, right? So we talked about screen time. Like one of my big things is about how do I spend the weekends with my kids where they're just not on their screen times and it's something fun for them. I'll have a little fun at Typhoon Texas, but it's more for them.
Right.
But then also during my busy work day, like I need to work out somehow. So that's on my schedule. And so the reason why I said it's not just a day kind of activity, it's also you can look at from a month view to a week view of your schedule to a day by day. That way you cannot just, be following your schedule, but you can also defend your schedule when things pop up or things arise.
Okay.
You can either do spontaneous things or you can say, no, I don't have time to do this because I have other things scheduled, and you can have that up front in front of you.
And how often are you reviewing your calendar so that you don't, I guess, get taken off guard by, Typhoon Texas, I put that on the calendar and I have made no plans?
So it's another thing that I schedule. So every Friday I have an hour set of reflection time of the week, of how the week went, what would I change for next week, do I have overlapping meetings at work in the following week that I have to deconflict. Is me and my husband going to have happy hours for work on the same day, and one of us has to make a decision about who's picking up the kids.
Yes.
So on a weekly basis, I review for the upcoming week what's going on, what do I need to deconflict, is there too much going on, or is it going to be an easy week?
Okay. So what happens if there's too much going on, or you and your husband have to be different places, and what are we going to do with the kids? What do you do with that?
We know that's sometimes I have to stay home. Sometimes he has to stay home. And we're okay with that boundary.
Okay. Do you also have a community that you can rely on for when you want your date night or whatever else?
So we have great neighbors and great friends.
You actually know your neighbors?
We know our neighbors. We have at least one dinner a week with them.
Oh, wow.
And there's multiple neighbors that we hang out with, and sometimes we hang out all together. We have a really great community for where we live in Houston.
Great.
So we rely on them. Sometimes, I have gone through an emergency where I had to call up one of my best friends and say, hey, can you just watch the kids for an hour or 2 hours? I need to go. So having those really good relationships, that support circle around you is so important. And it also helps for if you don't know how to do things.
Okay,
Because some of us, a lot of times I don't know how to do everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think I do, but I definitely don't.
Exactly. So the Junior League of Houston, which is a excellent organization of women who are like-minded in terms of civil service and helping others. Sometimes I tap into them about, hey, And I know other league members who are also working moms, and so maybe a professional question, right? I am dealing with a staff member with this such situation. Have you ever had that experience, and what advice would you give? So like leaning on them for professional experience, but then also like, hey, what do you do in Houston when it's hot? Give me ideas. Give the tips,
Yeah.
right? And so, you know, relying on professional organizations or work for work moms too. But then there's also great Facebook groups for like your neighborhood moms, or Instagram accounts that are all about like what moms take their kids to do in Houston.
Yes.
Which provide really great ideas so that you yourself don't have to use so much energy trying to come up with everything yourself.
Right, because that's a whole other drain, trying to figure everything out. So when it comes to this very full calendar that you have, how do you manage some of the typical things like the house, like chores that you have to do, especially with the very young ones?
So I'm
tired just thinking about it.
I agree. So a very supportive husband.
Okay, excellent.
So we do split tasks very fairly too.
Nice.
But then also there's things that we don't want to do, and so we figure out how do we outsource them. So I personally do like shopping at the grocery center or the grocery store. My husband, not so much. So he will rely on doing pickup, which is free. Right?
Okay,
so, you know, order your groceries online, and then you can just come to the store and they put it in your car, right?
Yeah.
Super simple things like that. Or, you know, what task or chores do you have at home that you want someone else to help you with? So we don't mow our lawn, for example.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
Correct.
Or most people.
Correct. So so we get help for that. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Good stuff. All right, great tips. You're making me feel like we can have it all. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in just a few. I want to thank you for watching this episode of Chattin' with Chelsea, and thank my incredible guests for so many great tips and insights. We're going to have it all, right? All right, you guys can have it all. Go follow me at Chelsea Show Fox on social media, and we'll see you on the next Chattin' with Chelsea.